Shout out to the CIA. One love, FBI. Hold on 1 minute. Now we're ready. Shout out to the CIA. One love, FBI. What's going on? What's going on? What is going on? Nieces and nephews, kin folks and cousins. What's going on YouTube? My name is Darren, and on YouTube I am known as the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. On this channel I primarily talk about fashion, fragrance, and I get into men's lifestyle and grooming as well. So if those things are of interest to you, consider subscribing to the channel, and also make sure you go ahead and hit the bell icon as well. That way you get notified anytime I upload new content on this channel. So guys, you see the title of today's video. This video, of course, is going to be a lot different from any other video that I've done before, because I come to you today with a little bit more, of course, of a somber mode and not so good news. For those of you that may not know, the fragrance community, which I'll get into that a little bit later, because Kevin actually was a part of the fragrance community before moving on to primarily focus on another segment of YouTube, was a member of the fragrance community. And Kevin Samuels, unfortunately, on May the 5th, passed away. And the reason I'm doing this video because not only was Kevin Samuels my brother, we were a member of the same fraternity, but also Kevin Samuels was the #1 reason why I myself got into reviewing fragrances here on the platform of YouTube. So back in the day, I had my set number of fragrances that I wore, but primarily one of my main fragrances that I bought over and over again was Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. And for me at the time, being in college and then getting right out of college, that fragrance cost over $100, so it was kind of expensive for me at the time. So I was in search of an alternative to Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, and I heard about a fragrance called Mont Blanc Legend. Now, in my quest to try to find out more about this fragrance, Mont Blanc Legend, I heard that I could get it probably for a little bit better price than I could get Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. I was searching for that fragrance and came across fragrance reviews on YouTube, which I didn't know at the time was a thing. And I actually saw a video by another Mont Blanc fragrance called Mont Blanc Individuel. And the review that I saw on YouTube was by none other than my guy, Kevin Samuels. Now, when I got into this, of course, I started out just like many of you. I was just a viewer, you know, just a viewer. And I started watching YouTube content after finding that video of Kevin talking about Mont Blanc Individuel. And I was just really, you know, drawn to him because he looked like me. You know, not saying we actually look alike, but, you know, he was an African-American male, and he was dressed in a suit, shirt and tie, which is, you guys obviously know, that's how I like to present myself. So his content just spoke to me. And that's the way that it works on YouTube. I mean, you're going to find people whose content just speak to you. Obviously, my subscribers, my content speaks to you. So you start to kind of trust my opinion. And on fragrances and things of that nature, you may like how I present. You may like the way that I dress. You may like the way that I talk about fragrances, or just the fragrances that I talk about in general. But what is something about my content that speaks to you, and that's why you subscribe. And it was definitely the case for me with Kevin when I saw this review on Mont Blanc Individuel. So for me, that opened it up, man. Once I saw that video, I started diving deep, just like probably a lot of you can identify with, diving deep into fragrances and really started expand my collection. And it was his videos that made me say, you know what? I want to do this myself. I want to review fragrances here on the platform of YouTube. So me personally, I'm doing this video because to me, I owe Kevin a lot, because he was the main person that influenced me to want to go into this hobby and start reviewing fragrances here on YouTube. Now, some of you, if you're a little bit newer to the fragrance community, you may not really know much about Kevin, because in the middle of 2020, Kevin actually started doing more content that was focused on a segment of YouTube here that's called the Manosphere. And what they talk about in the Manosphere is they really concentrate more. It's kind of like men's empowerment, if you will. It's kind of a segment of YouTube that is the voice for men. You know, I know there's a lot of female empowerment things, but the Manosphere kind of focuses more on the upbuilding of men. And kind of knowing Kevin's story, I understand now why he was probably interested in getting into that segment of YouTube, but it wasn't until the middle of 2020 that he actually started doing more content that was focused on the Manosphere, because from 2015 to 2020, it was all fragrances and fashion. I don't think there's ever a video that Kevin did on fragrance or fashion that I did not watch. That was the one person for me personally that every video he did on fragrance and fashion, I was tuned in. I was a huge fan of the channel. So it really meant a lot to me when early in probably 2018 or so, he reached out to me. He was like, hey, Bowtie, I'm digging your content. Let's do something together. Let's do some work together. So for me personally, that was really big because this is the person I primarily looked up to in this space on YouTube. So that meant a lot to me that he reached out to me. And of course, that he was even watching my content. That was early 2018. Now, of course, fast forward, it took a while, but right before Kevin took off in the Manosphere, I would say he was very successful in fragrance reviewing, because you guys know how it is, that grind in the fragrance community. Look, if you got 5,000, 10,000 subscribers, that's a huge accomplishment, because this is a smaller segment of YouTube, so it doesn't get the amount of attention and views as a lot of these other spaces on YouTube. So 5,000, 10,000 subscribers is a major accomplishment if you're a fragrance reviewer. But at the time, mid-2020, Kevin had about 65,000 subscribers. And at that time, it was May. He, myself, and my boy Big Beard Business did a video where we live streamed and talked about some of our favorite fragrances from some of our favorite fragrance houses. And Kevin called the series The Three Kings. Now, I wish I had clips from those streams that we did, because we did one in May and one in June. And fortunately for Kevin, at the end of June, that's when that video, average at best, dropped. And Kevin just kind of took off into another stratosphere. But what I want to say about that is this. At the time, Big Beard had just hit over 100,000 subscribers. Kevin had about 65,000. I only had 17,000 subscribers at the time. And he still included me on the live stream and wanted me to be a part of that. So for me, someone I looked up to as much as I did with him, that meant a lot. That means he was kind of reaching back. And I don't think we do enough of that, not only on YouTube, but in life in general. You know, sometimes when we get ahead, instead of extending a hand down, sometimes we get intimidated and we want to kick the next person that's on the way up. But he didn't have that mentality. So for that, you know, I just want to say, Kevin, thank you. So what I decided to do, man, to show my tribute and kind of give my appreciation for Mr. Samuels, is I have 10 fragrances that I have in my collection that he directly influenced me to purchase. Some of these fragrances, I want to show you a quick clip of Kevin talking about these fragrances in that very moment that made me say, you know what, I want to add this to my collection. So hopefully, you know, I do him some service with this. So y'all know how we get down, guys. If you've been following me for any amount of time, if you want to see what 10 fragrances my guy, my brother, Kevin influenced me to buy, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here.
Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this list of 10 fragrances that Kevin Samuels himself really heavily influenced me to purchase. I'm hoping I'm doing you justice, Godfather. I have if you guys that know anything about Kevin, you know that he loves Tom Ford. I'm rocking my Tom Ford today. I got my Tom Ford candle going, and I am drinking my Red Bull. All right, listen, I know I don't drink these a lot. Okay, I drink maybe 1 or 2 every 6 months. I know I don't mess with these like that. I don't know how Kevin drank these almost every night that he had a show. Once he started doing his show in the evening time, maybe to help him stay up, energy or whatever the case may be, he always had a glass and he always had a Red Bull. So as a tribute to him on this video, instead of my coffee, I'm going to sip on some of this Red Bull. So got my time for a candle going, my Red Bull, and also I got my specs right here. So just like the Godfather would do it, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first fragrance that my brother influenced me to buy was a fragrance from the house of Louis Vuitton, and it was this one right here, OMBRÉ NOMAD. OMBRÉ NOMAD. And listen, when he got this fragrance, I think he was the first person that I saw to do a review on OMBRÉ NOMAD from Louis Vuitton. And his reaction to it, I immediately said, I have to get my hands on this fragrance. As a matter of fact, I gotta show you guys the clip of his reaction to it. And like I said, when I saw that, I was like, okay, I gotta go pick this up and put it in my collection. So check this out.
Let's get it. Straight, dark, deep, masculine. Ooh, goodness. Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. Each and every time I wore it, women were just like, oh, this stuff is the ish. You guys know I like Portrait of a Lady at the top, then New York, ooh, but this is going to be coming in as a solid number 3 and working its way up. This thing is magnificently done. It's sophisticated, it's sexy, it's blended well. It's completely different than any of the things in the Louis Vuitton line, and it made me go back and look at it. Great for the fall and winter time, especially when you're dressed like this. Let's just get into the C3PO system. Compliment factor. On my skin, super amaze balls compliments. Performance, solid 8 hours plus. Projection, 2 to 3 feet plus. Projection, 2 to 3 feet plus. Sillage, 2 to 3 feet plus. Definitely a beast mode fragrance.
So my man Kev was like, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. After I saw that, man, I had to bag this thing up. This is not for everybody, but if you love rose, if you love incense, if you love oud, you like something that's deep, that's different, is rich, nobody else gonna be wearing stuff like this, then this is one you might want to check out. It's kind of expensive, but y'all know Kev had expensive taste. You know, his bottle was about 380 bucks from Louis Vuitton. But to me, it's one of my most unique, polarizing scents. It's daring. Like I said, not a lot of people are going to have the guts to wear a fragrance like this, but I love it. And I can see why he reacted to it that way and why he loved it so much. Again, guys, this one is from the house of Louis Vuitton, and it's called OMBRÉ NOMAD. All right, so the next fragrance that my brother influenced me to heavily to purchase was this one right here from the house of Mont Blanc, and it's Mont Blanc Individuel. Now, a lot of people in the fragrance community give Jeremy Fragrance credit for helping to influence them to purchase this fragrance, but that's not my story. As I just told you guys, when I first got into reviewing fragrances, the first fragrance review that I ever saw was by Kevin, and it was of Mont Blanc Individuel. I heard it was discontinued, and so I got several backup bottles of it. And like I said, guys, his review on this fragrance was the first one that I ever saw, and that's what got me interested in reviewing fragrances. I'm gonna play a quick clip. He talked about in the video how this fragrance kind of had an effect like Dracula. And I don't know, you know, he said it kind of sneaks up on you and then it kind of bites you right in the neck. So I'm gonna play that clip. And again, that honestly, that part of the video was so entertaining to me. I was like, he has knowledge, but he also has personality. And like I said, it made me really want to try this fragrance. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
So this fragrance is one of my top favorites because it works so well, and in the cooler months it is incredible. I'm not even going to go into the notes because the note pyramid is incredibly long. I'm lying this. Guys, women love this. They love it. Everyone loves it. It smells casual. It smells formal. It smells mysterious. It smells like you know the person. This is my vampire-like fragrance. The one that, you know, one of the big tricks Dracula has is he can play tricks with people's minds and woo you in with his eyes, and you, yeah, this makes me want to, like, you bite me on my neck. That's this. That's this. And
so, you know, you see, guys, that video got me interested in this fragrance and interested in reviewing fragrances overall. So you guys have Kevin Samuels to thank for me getting into this reviewing of fragrances, because that's the video that did it for me. From this, that's why you guys know I love Original Santal so much, because this smells a lot like Original Santal. And once I got this and started doing more research and found out about that, Original Santal was one of my first niche fragrance purchases. So Kev, I appreciate that review on this fragrance, man, because that is why I'm here today doing this. So I appreciate you. All right, guys, the next fragrance that he influenced me to purchase, anybody that has been watching Kevin for a long time knows that he says there's three things he loves: rose, oud, and amber. And he talked glowingly about those fragrance notes in this fragrance when he talked about Bond No. 9's New York Oud. Bond No. 9 New York Oud. And I think it was a video. He was actually dressed very similar to how I'm dressed right now. He talked about, it was going in the year of 2018, and he was talking about some of his top complimented fragrances, niche fragrances from the previous year. And he talked about this fragrance right here. And he talked so glowingly about New York Oud, I had to get my hands on it. Listen, when you start to really trust somebody's taste in fragrances and their opinions, you know, sometimes you feel like it's safe because you trust their opinion so much that you can blind buy stuff sometimes, especially if you know the notes that you like and things of that nature. Sometimes it's okay to do that. And that was the case with this fragrance right here. I think I have a small clip of when he talked about that. He said, "It's my baby. I'm wearing it right now." So let's check that out.
from the house of Bond No. 9, my baby, New York Oud. New York Oud. I wore it yesterday. Oh my God. Every time I put it on, I'm like, so good, so good, so good. I walk tall, I'll strut when I'm wearing this stuff. New York Oud just does it for me. It gets so much positive attention. The compliments. New York Oud by Bond No. 9 and me, we're just like that. Bond No. 9 New York Oud, my baby.
As you can see, guys, he talked about this a lot and said this is one of his favorite fragrances in his entire collection. So listen, I had to get my hands on it, and it has become one of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection as well. This one is from the house of Bond No. 9. And again, this is called New York Oud. All right, guys, the next fragrance I actually found out about this fragrance on that same video. You guys have seen me and Ms. Bolta talk about this fragrance right here from the house of Christian Dior, and it's called OMBRÉ NUIT. OMBRÉ NUIT. In that same video, I think he had like a large sample of this fragrance. I think he said the bottle broke. His bottle broke, so he had put it in a different bottle. But he said, OMBRÉ NUIT, OMBRÉ NUIT, you stole my beating heart. And he was talking about this one right here. So we say that a lot when we talk about this fragrance, and we're making reference to Kevin. So let me play the clip when he talked about this fragrance and he actually said that.
From the house of Christian Dior, we have AMBRE NUIT. Oh, AMBRE NUIT. Oh, be still my beating heart. Rose, amber, oh, be still my beating heart. What is not to love about this rose amber fragrance? Just so good. If you haven't seen my review, check it out here, but it's so good. It's so good, masterfully done, great performer, signature scent worthy, can't say enough things about it. Christian Dior AMBRE NUIT is just a bona fide winner.
So you guys can see why I love this fragrance. Just like it stole Kevin's beating heart, it stole my beating heart as well. This is a powdery rose fragrance, and I think there's some patchouli in here as well. This stuff is absolutely amazing. So check this one out, guys. Also, this is from Christian Dior, and this one is called OMBRÉ NUIT. Kevin used to always do that. Anytime he would smell a fragrance that he really loved, he did this. That used to kill me, man. But this next fragrance, he always described as the Marlboro Man steps off of the billboard. And it's from the house of Tom Ford, and this is called Grey Vetiver. Definitely another one that I had not heard about until Kevin talked glowingly about this fragrance. He talked about how easy it was to wear and how most guys, even if you don't like fragrances, a lot of the guys that he styled, he recommended this fragrance right here because it was so pleasant and so easy to wear for the average man. It's a great office fragrance. And he talked, again, very highly about this scent, and that was one of the first times I ever saw him do this to a bottle. So I had to pick it up. I think I have a clip of him doing that, so let me play that for you real quick with this fragrance.
Since we're talking about vetivers, we're going to get Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, and I will tell you this, just like Gucci Pour Homme, this one is scheduled or rumored to be moving into the discontinued area. Yes, I actually spoke to the general manager of the Tom Ford store here, and he told me this one is supposed to be going bye-bye. So guys, get your bottles now because this, when this goes off the market, I expect prices to double or triple because it's that good and it's been that good for so long. I don't know if they're going to bring it back and reintroduce it into the private line, but if they did, it would fit there. Tom Ford Grey Vetiver has always been the Marlboro Man steps off the billboard, and you simply can't go wrong with this classic, simple, masculine, and impressive fragrance.
Listen, so if you're a guy out there, you're not really into fragrances, and you're just looking for maybe one signature scent, this is one that highly came recommended from Kevin, and it comes highly recommended from me as well, from the house of Tom Ford. This is called Grey Vetiver. All right, man, anybody that followed Kevin know that he was a huge fan of the house of Bond number 9, and so am I. I think me, Kevin, and maybe Chad from A Gentleman's Journey are the only folks that really talk about Bond number 9 anymore. But it's a fragrance house that's loved by a lot of celebrities. It's a very popular fragrance house in the entertainment industry, but it's not well received here in the fragrance community, but whatever, to each his own. I love the fragrances, and this is one of the fragrances that he talked about a lot as well that he loved from Bond number 9, and it's Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street, and he described this bottle as Prince in a bottle. So, again, creatively, only way Kevin could describe a fragrance, and when he talked about the notes in it and talked about it, he said this was Prince in a bottle. I was also very attracted to this fragrance. This was a niche fragrance that he influenced me to buy early on in my fragrance journey. So I definitely am one of my top 10 fragrances that I purchased on the niche side of things early in my collecting journey here on YouTube. So check this one out, guys. This is from the house of Bond number 9. It's Prince in a bottle, and this one is called Bleecker Street. All right, guys, this next fragrance is a fragrance that he was talking about. This fragrance, he was out outside, like maybe by a lake or something like that, and he was just talking about the compliment factor. And those of you that know Kevin knows he talked about the 3 CPO system: compliment factor, performance, and the style personality that he can see pulling it off. That was the first time I ever heard the C3PO system. But again, that's how Kevin liked to do things. He was very creative and innovative in ways that he talked about fragrances and came up with these different types of rating systems to describe fragrances. And he talked about Black Afghano from the house of Nasomato, and it was a fragrance house I had never heard anything about. But at that time, I wanted to get into things a little bit more creative in the whole nine, and this sounded like something right up my alley. And he was 100% correct. I love this fragrance. So check this one out as well, guys, from the house of Nasomato. This one is called Black Afghano. All right, guys, this next fragrance is very special to me, and because when Kevin talked about this fragrance, he said this was his favorite fragrance in his entire collection of over 1,000 fragrances. So you already know I had to get my hands on this, and this is one of my favorite fragrances as well. It's definitely my top 3 in my entire collection from the house of Frederic Malle. This is Portrait of a Lady. Portrait of a Lady. Now, you guys that follow my channel know I have renamed this fragrance. It's called Portrait of a Man because when I wear it, I'm a man, obviously, of course. So it's called Portrait of a Man when I wear it. But guys, this stuff is phenomenal. This holds the place in my collection as getting me the most compliments in one day. I got 7 compliments. Men and women were giving me compliments when I wore this fragrance one day. And it's just that good. As he always says, you know he loves rose, oud, and amber. In the fragrance video that he talked about this, he said that this was his #1 fragrance of all time. You know, Kevin had these things that he would say, and I think he said that about this fragrance. He said, my body could secrete this stuff, and I will be perfectly fine with that. And he used that terminology and phraseology to talk about this scent right here. It's absolutely amazing. Of course, I got to play a clip of him talking about this fragrance because this is a very special one. This was his favorite fragrance of all time.
My name is Kevin Samuels. In today's video, we have a great one. An incredible fragrance, my most favorite fragrance in the world today. Oh my. Today, guys, is a special day. Today, I get to talk to you about my favorite fragrance on the planet to date. You guys know I love rose, oud, and amber. So you know that fragrance has to fit somewhere in that category. You talk about a collection of hundreds, almost thousands of fragrances, smelling fragrances every day in and out for the last 10+ years. To say your favorite fragrance on the planet to date is really saying something. This is one for me that every single time I wear it, I'm transported. It is heavenly for me. Now, it is not my most complimented fragrance by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't matter. Every time I wear it, I'm in my zone because I am wearing my ish, my stuff, my thing. And I'm gonna tell you, from the first time I smelled it, I was captivated.
So guys, you heard it yourself from the Godfather. It's one of his favorite scents of all time. It is now one of my favorite fragrances of all time. From the house of Frederic Malle, this is called Portrait of a Lady. All right, guys, this next fragrance is another one from the house of Bond #9, and this one is called Chez Bond. This is called Chez Bond. And this particular scent, I found out about this one, of course, through Kevin. He was talking about a fragrance from the house of Armand called Très Nuit. Now, Très Nuit is a fragrance that smells a lot like green Irish tweed from the house of Creed. And when he was describing Très Nuit, he said that it was a combination of green Irish tweed and Chez Bond from Bond #9. And he talked about actually how much he actually liked this one a little bit better than green Irish tweed. So I was like, man, I gotta get my hands on that. And I kind of see where he was coming from with this. It smells a lot like green Irish tweed, but this one goes a little bit more, that one goes a little bit more green with the not the iris, it goes a little bit more green with the violet leaves in that fragrance. Where this one goes a little, amps up the citruses a little bit more, tones down that greenness a little bit. So it's going to give you a different vibe, but it's very similar to green Irish tweed, but it's absolutely a phenomenal scent. So check this one out, guys. Again, this one is from the house of Bond #9, and this is called Chez Bond. All right, guys, and last but not least on this list of fragrances that my brother Kevin influenced me to buy was this one from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and it's called Oud Satin Mood. Oud Satin Mood. When he talked about this fragrance, he opened up with a line from Shakespeare. He said, have you studied the Shakespeare? A rose by any other name is not as sweet. Only Kevin could do that, man. I'm gonna play a quick clip of him talking about this fragrance so glowingly, and again, let you guys see why it made me want to go out and get my hands on Oud Satin Mood.
Study your Shakespeare? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. And then he rounded out with Oud Satin Mood. I picked this up at Euro Perfumes, guys, and I left a link in the description to help you get 15% off of this. This isn't carried a lot of different places, so to be able to get juice of this quality for a discount is a really good thing. Oud Satin Mood is probably the most wearable out of all 5 of them. Why? That vanilla rose makes it a sweet. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. On the C3PO system, the compliments on my skin, I get very good compliments, and this is a fragrance that gets you noticed. It's an attractive fragrance. This is the kind of fragrance that when you wear it, it just kind of wafts throughout the room, and people just kind of wonder who smell it good. That's you.
So as you guys can see, Kevin loved this fragrance. He said it was sexy. He loves Kurkdjian for fragrance, Tom Ford for fashion, and this fit right into the fragrance category that he loves, rose, oud, and amber. That's what this fragrance is all about. One of his favorites, and now, of course, one of my favorites, guys. Check this one out as well. From the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, This is called Oud, Satin Mood. All right, guys, that is it. That is my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today as I pay my tribute. I said my farewell to my brother, my friend, none other than Kevin Samuels. It still doesn't seem real. That still doesn't seem like, you know, this is really happening. And I'm sure at some point it'll really sink in and set into me that, you know, apparently this is a real thing, you know. But I'm glad that, you know, we have the videos for us that supported Kevin. I'm glad that we have the videos that we can always go back and refer to. And there's one thing I love about YouTube and I love about content. It allows a person to some extent keep living, to keep being a part of our daily lives. And since I heard about this, quite naturally, I've been binge watching a lot of content, just kind of going back, watching some of my favorite videos from Kevin. I didn't watch as much when he started venturing into the manosphere and started talking about the relationship stuff here on YouTube. But I did watch, you know, because I still supported what he did. But I will say that, you know, I am very happy and appreciative that we still have those videos to always refer back to when we want to, you know, get some of the knowledge that he dropped, have a chance just to kind of, you know, to see him and have a chance to, you know, again, just, you know, appreciate the content that he put out and the strong words that he had to say, the advice that he had to give. We can always go back and make reference to those videos. So guys, that's all I have for you for today. I may do another tribute, who knows? It just all depends on how I feel, man. This may not be my last one, but at least for right now, I want to say, of course, shout out to the CIA, One Love FBI, if I knew, yo baby yo. Until we meet again, my friend, Godfather, out.